beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Time gone by, I've traded black dirt into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today.
Hello, you know what we're doing. This is 1100 WSGI. I'm Utah LaVern, and yeah, this is One Street Over. What's going on One Street Over from where you living? Today it is Faith Friday, Faith Friday, Faith Friday. Oh, deep breaths, y'all, deep breaths. If you're part of my friend community, and I've got several friends just really struggling with some stuff, and I just put up a sermon, and you just need to listen to it. Everybody needs to listen to it. I can't remember this kid's name that I've been following, but oh, you know how, hi, Rachel Culver, hi, Dimples Hawkins. This is her mom. She's always like, my mom, my mom, my mom. And I forget that your last name's Hawkins. You got a kid named Hawk. And we were talking about how they call him Hawk. That's so cool. And they called your dad Hawk. That's neat. And I want to know about this name Dimples. But, you're going to tell me about that because that's a unique name, know. But I was saying there's this guy that I have been, Keenan Clark, have you heard any of his stuff?
No.
Young man. And whoo, there's hills every now and then come up with something. I'm like, I don't know if I agree with that, but that's okay. It's not anything about the gospel. It's just like, I don't know if I would put it that way,
Right.
But he's just a excellent, presenter of the word, and just, man, he's good. But he says his lesson that I just shared is don't let me forget. And it's just excellent. I haven't finished it yet, but I went ahead and shared it because I got some friends I know can use the encouragement of it. So just praying for all of them, and y'all know who you are. But don't we always have people like that in our lives? I mean, that's just something that doesn't stop. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
I mean, you're just always, and you just got to pray through it, So
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
Especially if you're committed to biblical community.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always somebody going through something.
Yeah, always. That's when people talk about, the life of ministry and all, it's exhausting. I was in it for about 7 years and just working part-time. Well, I was kind of considered part-time, but was sort of full-time. And it wore me out because if my phone rang and I knew it was somebody from the church, I just didn't feel like I could not answer it because what if they were in struggle, and what they were trying to get hold of somebody,
Yeah.
and I was like, they're paying, they're paying me with Jesus's money. I need to answer that phone. But anyway, and so it's exhausting.
It is.
It's exhausting. You have to put some limits on it. You have to, if you're full time in that, you just have to, because you will just burn yourself out. Y'all have spent your life in ministry.
Mm-hmm.
So your husband was a minister.
Lay minister, but he was never a full-time professional minister.
Okay. I always thought he was.
Yeah.
Okay. What did your dad do? Go ahead, Dimples. Talk to me. You go come on in on
Tell
that
her what Daddy
microphone a
did.
little bit closer for me. So
Okay.
what did Mr. Hawkins do?
He was an engineer at DuPont.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool. Which brand of engineer? I know to ask that because I've got an
Well-
electrical in my family.
Yeah, well, I don't really know. His trade was pipe fitter,
Okay.
but he was so talented in what he did,
Probably
and
mechanical then, I
he
bet.
was so smart
Yeah.
that they moved him. He didn't have the education of an engineer.
Right.
He had a ninth grade school and then what do you call it?
GED.
GED.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he ran the place.
That's amazing because
He was.
I have a friend that she was classed an engineer by the time she retired, and she was not trained in
Yeah.
engineering. Well, I've got 2 or 3 friends that were designated on their business card as engineers, and they just worked their way into it.
Yeah, that's what my daddy did.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mhm.
That's amazing. What an accomplishment. That's amazing. That's really cool. So, but he always preached the word because I hear Rachel, talking about it and
Oh,
the
yeah.
anointing on her. And I bet you did too. I bet you do still.
I would love to preach.
Oh, see, and just come on. Y'all know we were talking about that before we turned these microphones on. These Ezra Connectos in the room. You don't know what that means. It's side by side in opposition to the first words God spoke over woman. You were an Ezra, a helper, just as God was a helper for Israel.
That's right.
Look at the scriptures. Connecto, it's the only time it's used in scripture, and it means in opposition to. I mean, you're supposed to. I say this a lot. I fantasize about us having a male and a female president that stand side by side, that are side by side and in opposition to, that push against each other to say, is this really what we need to do? Is this really what we need to do? And I'm not talking about opposite parties, but I'm
Right.
talking about united in ideas and understanding that there's something unique the male brings, there's something unique the female brings. And if you get alongside each other and push against each other, you would lead this country in a way that would change the dad blame world, because by doing that, you're fully living in the image of God. And can you imagine a country led that way?
Mhm.
Oh, come on. That's my fantasy, man. And everybody's like, you're crazy, LaVern. I'm like, anyway. But man, we were talking about the people who they don't let in a pulpit because they're women that are just the most mighty, powerful preachers of the word I've ever heard. You know, anyway, I digress. Where did the name Dimples come from?
I had dimples here
Oh,
when I was born,
okay.
and I had one right here.
Uh-huh.
And my dad named me Dimples from the get-go.
Oh, how cute. So
So,
that's your given name.
well, yes, it's the only thing I've ever been called. I was
Uh-huh.
named legally after Mama and Daddy,
Okay.
and I don't like those names.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Dimples. I love it.
but it's on all my school records, on all my medical records, everything.
It's Dimples.
It's Dimples.
That's the cutest thing. I
So-
love that.
I don't know when it was, but Mama applied to have that added to my birth certificate
Uh-huh.
so that it would be my legal name.
Uh-huh.
So I go by Dimples Lanier Hawkins. Lanier
love
was
it.
my maiden name.
Mm-hmm. I love
So-
that. That is so cute. That is just the cutest thing. I just love that. My mama, my grandmother, and that's why I call myself Mama's, because I just honor her. She was just so sweet. And I always thought that she only had just 2 names, her first and last name, you know. But my cousin corrected me. No, she did have a first name. Sunshine was actually her middle name, but that's what everybody called her. And at her memorial, the preacher said no one has ever personified a name more than Sunshine. And she was, she was amazing. But anyway, I love those names. I had a couple of aunts though. They were named, and these are their legal names. One was Fanny June and one was Phoebe Carolyn. And guess what names they went by? June and Carolyn, not the first and at all. But it's just so fun. It's so fun. And actually, my name comes from my Aunt Pansy. Her name was Pansy LaVern. And so that's where LaVern. And then she had a niece born, my aunt, because my great aunt's Pansy LaVern, and she was named LaVern Gray. Gray is from a grandfather, Gray Barker, and so that's where I love to follow the trail of the names. And now the Gray name is just coming up. It's they're talking about my my granddaughter Gracie that's still cooking. We'll see her in March. I can't wait to hold her. But they're talking about making her middle name Gracie Gray, and so I don't know, but they haven't decided on it. But my first grandson is Rowan Gray. So Gray just keeps popping up, and I kind of think that Everly, my grandniece's youngest, might have the middle name Gray, if I'm not mistaken. Because you have those family names just keep popping up. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. But Dimples is so sweet. As soon as you said that, I'm like, that is the cutest name. I love that. I love that. So your precious daughter said, okay, yesterday I said Josh was coming in and going to share his testimony. He got the flu. So you said, Mom's coming in to share her testimony. So testify. Oh, you have a pulpit this morning.
Well, let me tell you about my Jesus.
Oh, come on. Come on, do it.
I guess I'll start when the Lord saved me.
Mm-hmm.
I was 9 years old. That was September 9th, 1952. Mm. It's been a while. And one of the battles I have in this day and time is thoughts. Mm. They just sometimes come out of nowhere, and they're not of God, but you get bombarded. And so I fight that with the Lord's my shepherd. And one of the verses in there says that goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Well, it has. And I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I will do that one day. But from the time I was saved until today, grace and mercy, goodness and mercy have followed me. There's no denying it, even in times of rebellion. And it shames me to say that I've ever had periods of rebellion, but I have. His goodness and mercy have always been there. Never. Now, I have doubted myself sometimes when I was disobedient, but he always reassures me with the Spirit and the Word that I'm his. I'm his. I don't deserve to be, but I'm his. So from the time I was saved through high school, I guess, I had an easy life. Easy. And I lived next door to a girl. We were the same age and same grade and all that kind of thing. And we'd spend the night back and forth sometimes. And one night we were at her house just talking. And she turned to me out of the blue. I had no idea. She said, if I ever become a Christian, I want to be just like you. Well, that blew me out of the bed because I didn't see myself like that. But God he's done that to me throughout my life. So I guess I must have been doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
But I made serious mistakes along the way. One of them was the first time I got married. It was against my parents' will. It was against my brother's advice. And the guy that I married was his best friend. And he said, don't do it. Well, I don't know why in that period of rebellion I went ahead and did it, but it was a mistake. It was a sin, and I and my children have paid for it since. But I'm forgiven. God has forgiven me. Through all of that mess, we had a lay witness weekend at our church in 1974, I think. And I was ready to check out. My pastor's wife said, just come to this. So I did. We started on a Wednesday night, and I was really convicted that I needed to allow God to change me completely, to surrender totally to Him. So one night during a prayer meeting, we broke up into groups, had prayer meetings, and there were 4 men from the team that were around me, and I asked them to pray that God would put my marriage back together, put my family back together. One of the men in that group prayed that I should know that God may not want me to go back into that mess. And it had never occurred to me.
Mm.
I was totally against divorce. And I didn't know what to do. Anyway, after that prayer, another man prayed that I would just surrender my life to the Lord. And I did. Well, the next night was when Raymond came. Her
That's
dad.
my daddy.
Oh,
Her dad.
I love it.
He had been delayed on the first night. He was a member of the team, but he had a call somewhere else, and he had committed to that. And at the last minute, it was canceled. So he came down anyway, a day late, and I met him there. And we were teamed up to go out witnessing into the neighborhood. The leader of the group teamed Raymond and my pastor's wife and me to go out as a visiting team. And we went out to get in the car. And of all things, my pastor's wife decided that she had something else that she was going to do. She left me sitting in the car with that man. I didn't know him from
Adam's house cat.
yes. I didn't know if I should say that or not.
I love that. I love that.
I did not know him from Adam's house cat, but plain and simple. He was such a man of God. He was so sweet and so gentle. And he said, let's pray before we go. And I was mad at Gladys. That was my pastor's wife.
Yeah.
She left me there. So,
What are you thinking?
and he put his hand out like that and said, let's pray. I wasn't about to take his hand. I was done with men.
Yeah.
I was done. But he prayed anyway, and
That's hysterical.
we went out, and I'm not sure if it was that time or the next time that a couple of people, gave their lives to the Lord. Well, we came back for lunch, and then we were supposed to go out again, change teams, and go out again. Well, the team leader put Raymond and Gladys and me together again, which was a no-no. But, I didn't know enough about it at the time to know that the Lord's doing something.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went with it. And I think there was one more person that was led to the Lord. But it kind of whetted my appetite, even though the night before I had prayed. That whetted my appetite for more of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in December of 1974, that whole thing. And then by June of 1975, Raymond and I were married.
Wow.
We became prayer partners over the phone. He went back to Tennessee, and I stayed in Florida. And we never got to date or anything like that.
Isn't that something?
But on the phone. And before we got married, we made a commitment. If excuse me, if any one of our children disapproved, that we would not get married.
Mm.
Well, I had a 7-year-old and a 5-year-old. And
Did he have kids?
he had 3.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he had 3.
He had
Two-
been married before too.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and when he sold out to the Lord before, his wife dismissed him.
Okay.
That's what he calls it. He got dismissed.
Yeah.
So we both had, biblical grounds for divorce. And anyhow, Raymond turned out to be my redeemer.
Amen.
God sent him to be
I
my
love it.
redeemer. And we moved to Tennessee. My kids fell in love with him, and his kids accepted me wholeheartedly. Whatever
Mhm.
Dad wanted, he was a man of God, and they knew it.
Yeah.
So, but his 15-year-old boy lived with us when we got married, and he went back and forth occasionally to his mom, but she was a sad case. From our marriage, he stayed involved in that lay witness stuff. I went into the church with him, and I had not been active in my church to the point where I would call myself serving God. I would just go to be served,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
You showed up. You showed up, right?
I showed up. But God changed all of that. I wound up being a Sunday school teacher and a youth leader, and he allowed me to write Bible studies for our camps and youth camps and things like that. And so, but he was good to us. He was so good to us. Better to me than to Raymond, because my two children wound up being rebellious, and his kids were they belong to the Lord, except the daughter. Now she still has issues, but the boys are sold out Christians.
Mm, that's wonderful.
David's a minister and a missionary,
Awesome.
and Danny he's just a godly father, and he's a nurse, and he sings.
Mm.
Oh, he sings, doesn't he? Yeah. Well, I'm going to try to make this kind of short. but
Okay. You're fine. You're doing good.
I just want to tell what the Lord has done for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do that adequately. I don't have the words to explain a God who would take somebody like me, the rebellious kid that I had been, and allow me to do the things that he allowed me to do. It was just it was amazing. Then in 99, I think it was, I had gone on ahead a little bit from Tennessee to Florida to take care of my parents. They were both elderly and had issues. And he finally decided that he would move down there with me and it would be permanent. So in 99, we were Floridians. It didn't take long for me to realize that there was something wrong with Raymond. And Mom and Dad both had eye issues. He had macular degeneration. She had glaucoma. He had atrial fibrillation, and she wound up having some kind of heart problem too. And then Raymond started getting worse with the condition that he had, and I wound up being caregiver for all three of them.
Oh, wow.
So, and that went on from 99 until, well, at the tail end of that, my brother became, well, where I had to help his wife be his caregiver as well.
Wow.
I had to move him into Raymond's and my little house, and I'd moved up to Mom and Daddy's house because they had already gone home. Raymond went home in 09. He went home first.
Mm.
And Daddy went home in 11, and Mama went home in 14. Then my brother went home in 2016.
Wow.
But even in that, Raymond and I had gotten involved in the little church in Florida. I was a Sunday school teacher, and I was the youth director, and I taught on Wednesday nights, the youth on Wednesday nights. And as Raymond got worse, I had to give up some things. I even drove a 15-passenger van for 26 kids on Wednesday night.
Oh, my goodness.
I know.
Oh, my goodness.
but they had no other way to get to church,
Yeah.
and we had that old van, and
15-passenger van for 26 kids. We used to could do that. You
I
can't do that
know.
now. We do that down in Mexico still.
Right.
We'll pile them in, man. You know, it's like we ride in the back of pickup trucks in Mexico too.
well, so did we. Yes, sir.
We go down there. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm
Well,
being
we
silly.
walk. I mean, what has a blinky light? I don't even think it has a real red light.
Well, I think they do now, where the road from Panama City comes right down into the middle of town.
Yeah.
They have a traffic light, but that's
Okay.
it, and they hadn't always had one.
Oh, how funny.
So it's a very small,
Very small town.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it's fun being small town. It's neat. It's a fun way to grow up.
Well, I went to school there from we didn't have kindergarten,
Mm-hmm.
but from first grade until we graduated. And Rachel and I were talking this morning. I was valedictorian, so was she.
I know, and I think that's so impressive that you were valedictorian.
Yeah, but it's not quite so impressive when you find out I didn't have but 27 kids in my class.
That still impresses me. It still impresses me, and it's so funny when I found out that she was valedictorian. I'm like, okay, that's it, because I was like, she just recalls things. I'm like, how do you do this? It's because you're so smart. You got that big brain, but there
She's
you go.
like her
That's where you
daddy.
get- Okay, well, and her mama too, apparently,
Well, her daddy was brilliant. He
Yeah.
was. So
and that's beautiful.
anyway, for those years from 99 until 2016, I had gotten out of everything because
20 years you spent taking care of everybody
Mhm.
deeply.
and I had to gradually give up everything so that I was finally out of church, you
Mhm.
know, and I wound up, Daddy would still go, but somebody would always come out to meet him and walk him in because of his sight.
Yeah.
And he had a stroke, by the way.
Mhm.
So bless his heart, I think that's where Rachel and I get our stubbornness. He wouldn't use a walker, and he wouldn't use any of the helps that you need in a shower in a
Sounds
the
like
bathroom?
my mother. My mother was the same way. She's like, I ain't using that walker.
No.
I don't care. I'm not using it.
He-
She wouldn't have it.
Well, he wouldn't, but he was also, what would you call him? Stubborn? He and I had, the first part of the time that I was down there, we farmed.
Oh, okay.
I had a Massey Ferguson, a big tractor, and he got to where he couldn't see the rows. He could feel the way the tractor went, but I had to ride it with him.
Oh my goodness.
And so that's what we did. And finally, after he had the stroke, he couldn't do that anymore. I wound up being the
You
tractor person.
Yeah.
Uh,
How many acres did y'all farm like that?
we had 2 garden areas at home, but there was about, I imagine 7 or 8 acres across the highway from where we lived
Uh-huh.
that we farmed that over there.
That was their retirement home. Before that, they had a 54-acre farm.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But even in retirement,
He had to have a
farming
farm.
8 acres.
Farm
yeah.
something.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
What'd you raise on the acreage? I'm curious. I'm a farm girl, so I got to ask farm questions.
Okay, that's perfectly all right. I love it.
Mm.
We had cucumbers, and we had potatoes, and on the other end we had sweet potatoes, and we had okra, and pink eye purple hull peas, and candy corn.
Okay, and I'm guessing that you harvested those and sold them at the local farmers markets and stuff,
No.
or did you just?
We
That's what you ate on all year.
that's what we ate on all year, but we also grew more than we could eat.
Mm-hmm.
And even after Daddy had his stroke, I did a couple of years of the major stuff. We would get on his golf cart and take our produce around the neighborhood. We lived on a
Mhm.
lake, and we'd go all the way around the neighborhood
That's
taking
wonderful.
taking stuff to people,
And neighbors.
the
Yeah,
neighbors.
That's
Yeah,
so interesting. Oh, I love that.
yeah.
And my grandfather, I think this is a beautiful part of your testimony. My grandfather came to the Lord late in
Oh.
life, And Mom attributes it to my dad's witness in his life.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes. Because he and Mama told me whenever I told him that Raymond and I were going to get married, he told me I was rushing things. He said, "You going to run him off. You going to run him off."
Oh no.
But I had, to that point, I could tell Daddy, we had prayed about it, and we had set up certain kind of like fleeces,
Yeah.
and God honored every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
we got married,
The
and
fleece is damp. Mhm. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
The reason God honored it in that story is because he wanted to obey.
Mm-hmm.
So if your heart, if your motive is, God, would you, I want to obey you. I just want to know it's not me.
mhm,
Yeah.
Like,
And
am I?
that's a struggle.
Yeah.
That is a struggle. Yeah.
mhm.
And so if that's your heart, you got to know God's going to honor that.
You bet. You bet.
So.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I tell you, this is great. Rachel Culver, she comes in on the third Friday. Y'all know this, and she had planned on bringing Josh. He got sick, so she brought her mama to share her testimony. And I knew bits and pieces of your story just from little things that Rachel had told me, but I didn't. I knew you had older siblings. I did not know you had so many older siblings. Okay, so I mean, you've got 5, right?
Mhm.
5 older.
Yeah.
Is it just you, or are you the only child of?
She's the
family
yours,
members?
mine, and ours.
Okay, that's it. Wow, I mean
Of
that's just
ours.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Which I
Love
think,
it.
just even my life, the fact that I exist, I think that's a beautiful part of the redemption story.
Oh goodness.
Like, because I have not experienced it myself by the grace of God, but I have so many people in my life who have experienced divorce and how
Mhm.
devastating that is. And you feel, according to my people who have experienced this, you feel like it's the end of your life.
Mhm.
But
And sometimes it is for some people.
Well, my sister's story. I mean, she ended up being married. I lose count 5 or 6 times because she just kept going. She was just so broken after the first,
right.
Mhm.
and just struggled with it her entire life.
Yeah.
and that's what it sets up.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Yeah.
And I love how when you let God redeem your story,
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be the end.
Amen. Yeah.
And he can do beautiful things, like, and I love how you laid out that you surrendered, you gave your final surrender to the Lord, and the next day you met Dad.
It's so fun.
It
Like,
was.
Yeah.
The Lord's like, okay, open your hand
Let's go.
in surrender so I can feel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just remembered the prayer that I prayed after that guy said, "Help her to realize you may not want her to put this marriage back together."
Mhm.
Before we left that meeting, I prayed, and my prayer was that God would remove whatever or whomever from my life that would keep me from being all He wanted me to be.
Ooh, good prayer.
And He did.
Mm-hmm.
He removed the first one completely.
That's amazing.
And anyway, Raymond, he was truly a man of God. He loved God with all his heart. And he told me when we were talking about getting married, he said, "Well, there's one thing you're going to have to understand." And he said, "You will not be number one in my life."
Oh wow. Yeah.
He said, "Nobody will ever replace the Lord." He said, "That's the only one you'll ever play second fiddle to."
What a beautiful testimony. That's wonderful.
He was,
I love that.
and he accepted my kids just like they were his own,
That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
and his were already grown and gone, except for the 15-year-old,
Mhm.
But we had a beautiful blended family.
Mhm.
Now my 2 kids had grown up the first 5 and 6 years of their lives under the influence of their biological father, which has turned out to be disastrous.
Mm.
The 2 of them are not following the Lord. But Raymond's boys are, his daughter is not. And of course she is.
On fire, anointed. I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
just, I just, and I just believe with all. I've got one that's not following, and I know y'all pray for him because I know she talks about him and prays for him, and and his name's Elijah. Come
Uh-huh.
on. I mean, come on. And God is faithful.
Yeah, he is.
God
Oh,
is
he
faithful.
is.
For yours, for mine, for ours. I mean, he's faithful.
He has
And I
shown
just
me
believe
so
that
much.
with all my heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
He has
Mhm.
shown me so much since Rachel had been after me to move up and live with her.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I didn't want to, I was scared to or whatever. I was a basket case almost. Almost.
You were.
Yeah. And when I didn't have anybody else to take care of,
Yeah.
I didn't know what to do
You
with
didn't know
myself.
what to do with
I did
yourself.
not know
Oh,
what to
my.
do with myself. But I finally, I guess I called you one day and said, "Come get me."
Mhm.
Oh, I love it.
And that was after a lot of prayer. Josh and I had prayed and prayed and prayed that she would allow us to move her up to where we were at that time in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 15 years of 24/7 caregiving. And there's a lot, I think you went through so much. There are things like from my perspective that I remember that I think you forget are a part of that timeline, because there was even a point where my dad was languishing in one bedroom,
Mm.
and in the other bedroom was my older brother about to die from Crohn's disease.
Oh my goodness.
So, and that was a season
that.
of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so there, it was just loss after loss after loss, and you're pouring yourself out. And when you're a caregiver like that, like she talked about, she had pulled away from attending church because she had to be there
Mm-hmm.
24/7 for the people she was caring for and didn't have help. And so when you pull away from what's the metaphor you used, like when a log rolls away from the fire?
Oh, as long as the log's in the fire where the flame is, it can burn. But when you pull away, you get cold.
Yeah.
You don't have the warmth anymore that allows your.
Reason you need to be in a church, y'all.
And that's
Yeah.
how she described kind of what
Yeah.
happened to her spiritually. She was pouring herself out constantly,
Mm-hmm.
but not in biblical community.
Yeah.
And so that after 15 years, that
Mhm.
can leave you in a pretty dark place.
I can imagine.
19 years.
Okay.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
gonna say, yeah.
Yeah.
19 years. So
Well,
wow.
God's goodness though is just it's unfathomable.
Mm-hmm.
During all of that time, Mama or Dad or Raymond never, ever demanded anything of me, never criticized me for anything I did. Whatever I did was okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. And they both had their minds about them.
Mm-hmm.
Raymond gradually lost his,
Mm-hmm.
and that was the hardest
Oh, I
part.
can't imagine that. That would be just so.
He would come through the house, and he would look at me and say, "Are you my Dimp?"
Mm.
And
Oh.
and sometimes he would ask me where Dimp is.
Mm.
He did, but he was so kind and so cooperative. It didn't matter anything I wanted to do.
Even through that, and seeing that's not everybody's experience.
No,
with
it's
dementia
not.
and
I have
stuff.
had people tell me
Yeah.
that they went through a time of
Yeah,
hell
yeah.
with somebody like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that he was so precious before the onslaught of that.
Yes.
That's why that's what he had.
Yes.
And I know that Rachel told me about the clarity he had right before he died when he
Mhm.
poured out on you
Yeah.
the blessing. And that's just I want you to tell that. I got to do a break. I didn't want to interrupt this. It's so hard when somebody's just really sharing to stop and say, we need to take a break. Well, we do. We
I
do need
need
to
a
take,
break.
we need to, because we've got a couple of commercials we need to do. We got to talk about the UPS store and, of course, always Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. And I also cannot let this morning get away from me. Y'all always see Lawrence P. Rainey. That's Paul Rainey. He's on here with me every morning. If you see him in comments. Goes with me to Mexico, serves with me at Madison in so many different capacities. Dear brother and friend, happy birthday, brother. He's big old 75 today, so it's a big one. Served 41 years in the Nashville Fire Department. Good man. Happy birthday, brother. Just somebody that just gives and gives and gives. We love you dearly, and we're going to celebrate you. We got a party for him tonight, so
Oh, that's fun.
happy
Oh,
birthday,
great.
Paul. And so with that said, let's go ahead and we'll start with UPS store, and then we'll finish up with Barry and Rebecca here before we finish up the show. But the UPS store, I cannot say enough about it. I always start out saying it's not just where you drop off your Amazon packages, but it's where we drop off our Amazon packages. I have a few I've got to drop off. And here at this time of the year, you're going to be getting gifts in. You're going to be like, I got one in today that I had bought for some kiddos. And I'm like, I don't know if that's worth what I paid for it. And I'm probably going to send it back. Well, I've got the leisure to do that because I go into the UPS store here and there's no hassle, no rush. They could have 20 people in there and they'll still get me in and out of there like that. And I don't see how they do it. They blow my mind. And every single person in there knows what they're doing. They understand. They're so fast and efficient and kind. They're just as sweet and kind and respectful as Chick-fil-A employees. And y'all know what I mean. I love to compare them to them. And it was so funny. The other day, they had an ad that popped up where they were doing a printout for Chick-fil-A. So I thought that was hysterical. And remember, they had some large format printing discounts that's continuing on right now. Any coupon you have from them, it never expires. They haven't put out any new ones lately. That large format printing was the last one. But they always have an opportunity if you come in and fill out a survey and win an Amazon gift card, things like that. They have unique little items, a lot of office type items, but I can a lot of the times find stocking stuffers for my boys in there. That's something I do a lot. And I utilize their notary service all the time. I used to have to just hassle with trying to figure out where am I going to get this notarized? And it's like, well, what hours are they there? Every single employee at the UPS store is a notary. So you go in, you can get something notarized anytime, no hassle. I love them in there. They're great folks. You can get a post office box, so that way you don't have to worry about people stealing your stuff. Anyway, they're just a great service, and we're going to need them big right now during the holidays. So get in there and see them. They're at 513 Memorial Boulevard here in Springfield. 513 Memorial Boulevard here in Springfield. Their number is 615-384-0093, 615-384-0093. You can send them an email if you have something you need printed and call them and say, hey, I'll be by in a few hours, and they'll have it ready for you. Just a piece of cake, so convenient to work with. Be sure and check them out today and let them know U-Turn sent you. All right, let's get back to it. The thing that you were talking about that you've told me a few times about right before your dad passed, tell that story.
When he prophesied over
Yeah,
me.
yep. That's just so cool.
So I had gone through a Beth Moore study with my church at the time. We were living in Georgia. Josh was a youth minister. And the women's ministry was doing Believing God by Beth Moore. And God was really using it in a mighty way to wake up our faith and encourage us to trust him more. And I began feeling like God was calling me to make a journey down to Florida to have the elders of his church pray over him for healing because he was suffering so greatly with this brain disease. It was diagnosed at first as Parkinson's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then re-diagnosed as
The effects of the chemicals that he worked in at DuPont.
Oh, okay.
so
Okay. I just assumed it was dementia or Alzheimer's.
it was a chemical called Daltherm because he was a pipe fitter, he was a mechanical engineer, and he was often in the thick of a mess if there was a leak or something. And the leak often involved a poisonous chemical called Daltherm. And so Mom said that there were days he would come home with that drenched on his skin.
Oh.
And have to undress at the back door.
bless.
Now,
God
because
bless,
before,
yeah.
I think before the mid 80s, they just didn't have safety protocols in place like they should have.
Oh, yeah.
And so, anyway, and he worked at a plant that made the nylon for seatbelts.
Okay.
So this chemical was often on him. And since we've found online forums where there's all kinds of litigation and because people are suffering from,
Yeah.
Anyway, we never got into that, but it's a thing. And so what they thought at first was Parkinson's was actually slow poisoning through his skin from this chemical at work.
Wow.
And it had, so I think they re-diagnosed him. What I remember is the doctor saying he has a brain disease with Parkinson-like symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all they could come up with because they couldn't,
I asked the doctor at that time what that really meant, what was happening. He said his brain is turning to jelly.
Oh.
That's so.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That was the period. That meant nothing after that could be done. I'm sorry.
No,
Yeah.
it's okay.
No. Wow.
But that just even, I think, lends more beauty to the story, honestly, because what you saw happen with my father, his brain turning to jelly because of poison, right? And yet there was not a day that went by that he did not sit with his journal full of the people in his own handwriting that he prayed for every single day for deliverance, for salvation, for whatever the need was. And even after I think even after he couldn't even read anymore, he would sit with that in his lap and just go through the motions because it was so ingrained in him that he would spend time with the Lord, that he would pray, that he would labor and intercede for other people, that he did that, I think, even after he didn't even realize what he was doing. It's just so beautiful. And anyway, so that's where his brain was. This was about 2005-ish. The doctors, I think, at that point had told us that he maybe had a year left, even though he did live to 2009. But I just remember that being one of the impetus for me getting down there was because one of the doctors had mentioned, they can't tell really, but they had said, you may have a year left. And so we're going through this Bible study. I'm in Georgia. The big kids are little. And I talked to Josh and I'm like, babe, I have to go down. And God had been confirming in beautiful ways through his word, through affirmations from other people, just the way he does, right? He had been confirming that this is what he was calling me to. So we set up a meeting for the elders of their church to pray over my dad, to anoint him with oil. And I went down there and I was so convinced by God's affirmations and confirmations that this is what I was supposed to do. And I so believe with all of my heart, faith is a gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the Lord just gave that to me even as a child.
Yes.
I have lots of struggles, but faith in who God is and what he can do is not one of them. And so, that's all to say, it was not a lack of faith on my part that resulted in my father not standing up completely healed when the elders anointed him and prayed over him. So it was not a lack of faith that he was not healed in that moment. So that it befuddled me. I was because I would like my mouth when after they prayed over Daddy and he stood up and we were like, do you feel different? I literally was expecting complete healing.
Totally. Yeah.
When he was not healed instantly and 100%. I even was like, God's going to restore him back to his 30-year-old body, right? Like that's how far my faith was in my chest.
He's able.
And so when that did not happen, I literally, my mouth dropped open. I was like, I remember this face, like, what is this? God, I know you brought me down here. I know you have spoken. I know my shepherd's voice. Why am I here? What are you doing? And so I stayed for another few days. Josh actually stayed home with the kids so that I could do this by myself. And so I stayed for another few days. I think within 24 hours, Dad said, well, he was on one pill. He didn't take a bunch of pharma, but there were parts of this thing going on with his brain that would cause him to have hallucinations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so to try and dampen that, because he would, even though he was standing on a floor like this, he would think he was on the precipice of a cliff.
Wow.
So talk about terrifying, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, so he was on one pill to help with some of the things he was experiencing. And so as an act of faith, I remember him saying, I'm going to stop taking that. And so my dad, even a great man of faith, right? He was like, well, maybe I need to put some feet to my prayers and take a step of faith. So he did. And I was there, I think, for 3 or 4 more days. But over the course of the next day or two, we realized that was not going to help, that God was not healing in this way. And so the night before, I knew I had to go home. Like I couldn't stay anymore. I had little children. I had to go home. People needed me. The night before I had to go home, I was still so lost. I was like, God, why? Like, what in the world did you call me down here for? And I think this is so profound because I think that all of us who are walking this Christian journey have these moments of like, you called me here. Like, it's almost like Joseph. You gave me the dream. Why am I in a dungeon? Like, right?
Yeah.
And so it was that moment of, you told me to come here and you said this would happen. What are you doing? And so I remember the night before I left, Daddy was so hunched over, and he was so disabled that his spine was curved, and he was drooling, and he could barely even get a spoon up to his mouth to feed himself. And he was just in such bad shape. And I knew that I wanted to have, at this point, the doctors had said maybe a year. And so every time you leave, when you live so far away, you don't know if that's the last time you're going to see that person. And so I just wanted to have some really sweet time. I think Mom had gone up to the other house to take care of Granny and Granddaddy. So it was just me and Daddy in the house. And I knew that if I was going to get eye to eye with him, that I was going to have to literally get below him because he couldn't straighten up. And so I just sat on the floor, and I put my chin on my hands like this on his knee. He was sitting in his recliner, and I was looking up at him like this so I could look at him in the eyes. And honestly, I was praying internally that he would have a moment of clarity, like that he would know exactly who I was. And because sometimes, he would go in and out, and he was with me. It was really beautiful. The Lord did give me that, and he knew exactly who I was. And he had a very feeble voice, very feeble. I hadn't heard his strong, man voice in years at that point. And we were having a sweet conversation, and I knew it was drawing to a close. I knew I was leaving the next morning. And I said, Daddy, would you please pray over me? Because he had been such an incredible layman, such an incredible witness. I mean, Mom just told you about them going out and door by door witnessing and seeing people saved. I can't even tell you how many people are going to be around the throne of God singing with us in heaven because my Father reaped the harvest in them. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, so I said, Dad, all I want is that in my own life. And I wanted a double portion of it. And I wanted, like Elijah passed down the mantle, a double portion to Elisha. That's what I wanted. And I said, Dad, would you please lay your hands on me and pray for me that God would give me a double portion of your spirit? I want to see twice as many people saved as you did as a result of my service to the Lord. And he's so humble. He was so kind. And he put his hand real shaky on my shoulder, and he prayed over me. And I don't remember exactly what he prayed, but I do remember him saying, well, Rachel, that's up to the Lord. And he just put his hand on me, and he started praying and asking God for it. And then I prayed. After he was done, he let me pray. And I prayed to the Lord and asked him for something I had been asking for since I was little, because I was raised in a really great church and our missions program was so solid. And I've just feasted on stories of missionaries, Amy Carmichael, Jim Elliott, all of these men and women who sacrificed everything to go into the jungles, to go into the wherever, and they saw amazing revivals and amazing spiritual awakening. And I had been praying for that since I was little. And so I prayed for that once again. And out of nowhere, those words had not even left my mouth before my dad straightened up completely, his spine totally normal. He looks like there was fire and youth and vibrancy in his eyes again. And he, with a strong voice that I had not heard in years at that point, looked into the air in front of him and said, he will do it. He pointed at the air in front of him. And for a hot second, so that he could prophesy that over me, God healed my father. Mm-hmm. And then just as soon as he did that and said that, he shrank immediately back down into his disabled posture. And so I got home, and I would just sit at my table for weeks after that in the morning as my littles were taking naps and just spend time in the Word and say, God, what was that? What was that? Because one of the things I had claimed in that process, knowing God had called me down there to pray for my dad's healing, was that God is the God who calls things that are not as though they were. And I had prayed that over and over and over. And in my brain, I was thinking, you're the God who calls things that are not as though they were. You are going to call my father who is sick and dying back to health and restoration. and youthfulness. That's what you're going to do. And I remember, I think it was about a week or so after I'd gotten home and I was still processing everything. And I didn't even realize in the moment that my dad had been healed and prophesied over me. It was in the wake of, Lord, what happened? Because it was just so much and so heavy. It was in the wake of all that the Lord was like, it's almost like he snapped me out of it, because I was so lost in what my expectations were. I was so lost in what my vision of what God was calling me to do was, that when God gave me his vision and it was everything I prayed for, it just didn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. If I had not sat and soaked with the Lord and asked him to show me what all that was about, I think I would have missed it. But in his grace, about a week after I got home, he said, Rachel, I did call things that are not as though they were. I called a man who had never been sick before, ever, because Dad was healthy as a horse before this. I don't even remember my dad having a cold. Honest, I'm like, legit, I'm sure he did. But that's how healthy he was. He didn't miss work. Like he could do anything, and he did everything. He roofed our house. We didn't call people to work on the house. Daddy did it. Like, I mean, he was so healthy before this brain issue. And so the Lord spoke so pointedly to my spirit. He said, I did what you said. I did what my word says. I called a man who had never been sick before to become sick so that my glory could be revealed in his illness.
Wow.
I mean, just like the blind man. Jesus said that about the blind man.
Yeah. And the raising of Lazarus. I mean,
yeah.
So he was glorified.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And just like Lazarus, because I actually talked about this with a friend yesterday who's going through a horrible time. I said, Jesus said to his disciples when he found out about Lazarus, he said, this sickness does not end in death.
No.
Even though he knew it was going to. But he's the resurrection. Mm-hmm. And so listen, my daddy's sickness didn't end in death either, because he is alive.
Oh, yeah. Mine
and
too.
he is now in a great cloud of witnesses cheering us on to the finish line.
Amen.
And so the Lord, he just revealed to me, he said, I did it. And then it like all clicked. It was like the fog had been lifted. It was like the people on the road to Emmaus. They didn't see him. They didn't know, because their understanding, their vision had been dampened until the Lord wanted to make the revelation hit. And all of a sudden it was like, I healed your father so that he could prophesy over you and you would never forget it, that I am giving you the desire of your child heart. And I have no doubt. Listen, if you are in Robertson County right now, you just get ready, because he will do it,
Yes,
and no one can stop it.
I love
Revival and spiritual awakening is here.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. I love it. We're out of time, and I'm going to talk about Baron. That's beautiful. I'm just, if you need to go back and listen to this. I always say I have to go back and listen to our shows that we do together. I have to listen to them again, because there's just so much in it. And there's so many things that, I was telling y'all, I have a friend that's going through a really difficult struggle this morning. And, I've got several that are going through, but one specific thing that y'all just both addressed right to the heart of things they need to hear, I believe. And so I'm hoping that they'll take a minute to just sit down and just be with God and just let God do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Man, good stuff, y'all. And we need to do, let me do my break, and then we're going to come back and say our goodbyes. But this has been special. Thank y'all so much. Dimples, I love it. Let's talk for a moment about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. Love those guys, dear friends, godly friends that, they just do stuff for people. I saw the other day, I missed out they were doing a food drive again. They've done a couple of those, and just things like that they're doing in their community. They focus their work when they do, the community type work. They'll be at all the events that Cross Plains does, because they're Cross Plainians. They've been there for 30 years. They gave police chief, they gave him a little smart card to commemorate their 30-year anniversary in Cross Plains. They're just good people, y'all. And you're going to enjoy working with them. They know the real estate business so well. Rebecca, they both came out of brilliant careers. She was in radiology. He was a vice president of a media marketing company for 17 years. And they both like, we want to do real estate. And so they joined with the Exit exit Garden Gate team was where the first team they were. And then they decided to go with their own branch once he became a broker here in Springfield, and she has her agency office in White House, and they put those two together to give you a new branch in the same beautiful tree. Exit Prime Realty is where you'll find them. You can go to sellwithbecky.com, or robertsoncounty.com to find out more about how you can contact them, whether you are buying or selling, or if you want to be a realtor. They would love to mentor you to become a realtor just like them. And you couldn't find any that'll train you any better. Just great folks, always working to be the best of the best. Rebecca, one of the first in the area to be a seniors real estate specialist. So if you've got questions about, downsizing or doing something like that, they can specifically help you do that. You can give Rebecca a call at 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. Go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties because they've been everywhere. And across the state line in Kentucky, because like myself, yes, they're originally from Kentucky. Reach out to them today. Be sure and let them know U-Turn sent you. Okay, ladies, let's invite everybody to church. Tell them where to come to church.
At 10:02 on Sunday mornings, we meet at 143 Eden Way, Harvest Point Church. And if you want to look at our website, it's harvest-point.com.
Please find a church body to be with, guys.
Yeah.
Just what she was saying about, what was it about the fire, about the fire in the log? You gotta be in the fire, guys. What did you say about the log?
The heat, the fire, the light goes out when it's removed from the fire.
You got to be in the body, guys.
Yeah,
That's
you
the
do.
reason. You got to be there.
You're not supposed to do this alone.
No. And I understand church struggles. I do. I get it. But man, I love what we learned through them. We learned through them. Come on, y'all. Find a church this weekend. Be a part of the body. Know Jesus Christ. Give your life to him. And man, just the new life you get in that moment will blow your mind, because death has no victory on us.
That's right. For the believer, this tragedy does not end in death.
No, it does not. We just go from here to there, y'all. It's a beautiful thing. Love you guys so much. Thank you guys. Love y'all. Hope you'll be with us on Monday. We're going to have we'll have to do 2 or 3 shows next week. I'm not really sure, because with it being Thanksgiving week, but we got a couple of special things planned, and they should all work out. We'll let you know on Monday. God bless you. Have a wonderful weekend. Go to church. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless.
He lifted my burdens at Calvary. He carried them high upon an old rugged tree. There his blood broke my chains of sin and